started, everybody. So welcome to Lunch Without Lunch, the Rainforest Alberta weekly meetup where lunch is more than acceptable. So if you're eating your lunch, that is okay. Please feel free to put your camera on and eat and be comfortable and get to know the rest of the community. My name is Bridget Legault. I am community manager with Rainforest Alberta down in Calgary. We also have Amber Rowden, our community storyteller, who's unable to join us today. And we have an Edmonton steering group as well, who all volunteer based up in Edmonton. If you're interested, if you're up in that area, if you're interested in participating in some rainforest initiatives, they're getting some in-person things up and started again. Feel free to reach out to any of us at info@rainforestab.ca. So if you are new to Rainforest, please feel free to raise your virtual hand and we can welcome you in the chat as well. Feel free to put your LinkedIn profile there and share who you are with the rest of the community so we can warmly reach out and welcome you. You can follow us on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, a little bit of Facebook, though not many people hanging out there. But with those handles there, Rainforest AB, and then Edmonton has a different handle. And so that's why you may see some kind of confusing messaging online, but we do operate our own social media channels. So you can check us all out there, mostly on LinkedIn and Twitter. So what is Rainforest Alberta? Well, we are a community of innovators, doers, dreamers, connectors, builders. We're coming from all walks of life within the tech and innovation sector, and or just those who are curious about innovation. This is a great safe space to get to know the rest of the community and hear about what's going on in Alberta tech. We'll tell you a bit more about the movement here shortly in a quick video, animated video we've created. So prior to doing so, as steps to reconciliation within our province and country, we would like to acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy for those of us here in Calgary, and that those are the territories of the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, and the Métis Nation Region 3. And all of those who make their home in Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. And for those in the Edmonton area, we do acknowledge the traditional territories of Treaty 6 and the Métis. So if you're coming to us from another area of the country and or world, please feel free to share which traditional territories you are upon at the moment. And we'd be more than happy to learn and acknowledge those lands as well. Quick note, actually, because we are in June, on June 21st, National Indigenous Peoples Day. Lunch Without Lunch will be in a very, very different format in that we are going to be joining a powwow at C-Space led by a group called Four Winds. You can check them out online, Four Winds. And we'll just be headed to C-Space on June 21st to take part in the powwow, be very informal, just kind of show up and participate and learn. That is June 21st, National Indigenous Peoples Day. So we'll just share this video about what is rainforest.
What does it take to realize an idea or for a seed to sprout? At Rainforest Alberta, we know the answer is rooted in trust. Traditionally, Albertans have cultivated their ideas in established systems. Inputs that don't fit these systems are weeded out. Opportunities for growth are missed. But now, Albertans want a dynamic landscape that can evolve organically, like a rainforest. At Rainforest Alberta, we believe a culture of trust is the fertile soil where ideas grow. Our budding innovation ecosystem is a network of relationships pulling each other up as they push forward in their own field. Trust breaks down barriers. An open, inclusive network increases collaborative innovation. Successful breakthroughs inspire new ideas. A cycle begins. Rainforest Alberta is a movement to amplify trust by cultivating honesty, inclusion, and accountability. How? Our social contract holds us accountable to demonstrate trust across the province. We meet to have honest conversations around collaboration. This leads to more inclusive spaces for everyone to fearlessly build new ideas together. By raising the standard of trust, Alberta's ideas, talent, and resources can be evergreen. Visit rainforestab.ca to sign the social contract and start growing together.
So for those of you who are new to the rainforest movement, the whole movement was based upon a book called Rainforest Building the Next Silicon Valley. Geez, I say that so much now, it sounds weird coming out of my mouth. I think those are the word, that's the wording. It's all about around this analogy that innovation ecosystems are like actual rainforests in that they're wild and woolly, and they require diversity and freedom of energy and nutrients in order for things to thrive and flourish. And so in our case, it's ideas, capital, and the resources needed to build an innovation ecosystem. And when we talk about an innovation ecosystem, we talk about that scaffolding or that kind of support network that exists around our entrepreneurs and our tech sector. So at the Rainforest, we associate the ecosystem as having these 6 pillars, and each of them are weighted differently. Here within the community itself, we focus a lot on building this culture piece and reimagining what leadership looks like in this ever-changing, quickly changing world. Of course, within the ecosystem, we have tons of resources around capital, programming, you name it. We also have a lot of engaged activities, this being one of them, but there being a plethora of them in our community. If you're looking for where to access more of those activities, we have a lot of resources for you. Just DM me in the chat, or I can throw it online. Platform Calgary has a new community calendar, so check it out. There's always lots going on. Policy and infrastructure, of course, are required in order for everything to move and kind of act as those guardrails for the system that we live within. And then role models. So a little bit different than leaders in that role models are people that we could see ourselves in. And so we have an awesome role model presenting today. Ange from VOTO app. So she's going to share how she's building her company with her co-founder and more. So we'll get to that in just a quick moment. Just want to let everybody know we're only virtual today. We've been moving all over the city, and I'm sure confusing all, but you can always find details of where we're going to be each week on our registration page, our Luma page, which you can link to from our website. But today we're just virtual, so nice and simple. So feel free to use that chat function to introduce yourself and connect with others in the room. Don't be shy to reach out through DMs if there's someone you'd like to talk to, because that's what we're all here for, is to connect and help each other out. We'd ask that you can put your camera on if you don't mind. It's nice to get a face to the name so that when we see you in real life around the community, we can know each other a bit better. And let's ask questions from a place of curiosity. So Ange is going to present today. I'm sure everybody's going to have a lot of questions for her. And let's make sure we ask them and really get our curiosities out there. And of course, you can continue with your curiosity on our digital platform, Inkly, which I'll get to in the next slide. But a really quick note that this will be recorded and thrown up on our Rainforest Alberta YouTube channel. And we do capture the chat in our lunch notes channel on our Slack workspace. If you don't have access to any of these digital tools, then please sign the social contract, rainforest.ab.ca/social contract. That is really how you can be onboarded into the community. But if you're having any challenges with doing that, again, I'm here. Please reach out anytime. We're happy to welcome you on board through an online virtual chat or a real life coffee. All right, we'll go to the final. Actually, we're just going to skip through our value of the week and go right to Inkly. So Inkly is our new digital rainforest, we call it. It is where you can demonstrate all of your curiosities to the broader ecosystem. You can ask questions on this platform, and your question will be matched to those with the unique experience and knowledge to answer that question. And it will lead to all sorts of other connections if you follow up and follow through with them. So it's a little bit different than Google in that when you're looking for an answer here, you're going to have access to that tacit knowledge that lives in the individuals who work and play in the ecosystem all the time. The stuff that lives within their brains, the stuff you can't Google. So do not be shy. If you're building a startup, if you're pivoting into tech, if you're just curious about work-life balance, whatever it might be, throw your question out there. We have a new anonymous feature, so you don't have to put your name to the question if you don't want to, but you can still gain access to all of the knowledge that lives within leaders' brains. We have investors on that platform. We have leaders within the ecosystem, program offerings on the digital platform as well, you name it. So please don't be shy. If you're looking to find something out, this is where you do it. All right, on that note, let's stop sharing Any comments, questions, concerns? Now I can see all your faces again. Thank you. Comments, questions before we head into our presenter today? No. Well, aren't we all just a quiet bunch? Okay, Ange. For those of you who don't know Ange, she's the co-founder of VOTO, as I mentioned. I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Ange on the Libby podcast, so you can check out that episode on the Rainforest podcast, Leaders, Innovators, and Big Ideas. And we had a great conversation about what she's building, and I asked her to share that more broadly with the community today. So I'm going to turn it right over to you. You've got a fascinating background, and I love how it's led into your role now as a founder. So I'll just turn it over to you. As usual, questions can go in the chat, but we'll have time for unmuting and Q&A after Ange is done sharing, or throughout, whatever you prefer, Ange. I'll throw it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brigitte. How are we on sound? Good? Perfect.
Perfect.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I know there's a few of my friends on the chat, and to those of you who I don't know, who I haven't met yet, hi, my name is Ange Paye, and I'm the co-founder here at VOTO. So thank you to the team at Rainforest, Brigitte and Amber, for helping to coordinate this and putting this whole thing together. So appreciate you. So the topic at hand today, what I wanted to really cover is customer engagement and how that can be the new driver, at least, for social impact. And in terms of the agenda today, we're going to go through really trying to, first, I'm going to introduce myself, a little bit about my background and my work prior to joining VOTO, and then going to some basic concepts around customer engagement, what it is, what the problem is around it, and really how we at VOTO have kind of positioned and created a solution around solving the problem with today's current customer engagement. And then we're also going to jump into some research and validation and see basically what the ecosystem and what the market is actually seeing right now, and the impact of charitable giving specifically, and its impact on customer engagement. A little bit about me. That's a picture of me and my brother. He graduated high school last year, so that was an awesome thing. The things that I care about are movement. I love to work out. Right now, my current obsessions are spin and running, and consciously taking care of my body. I put in conceptualization just because I love coming up with like new ideas, conceptualizing them. I put sometimes creating, because the execution side of things is always the hardest. I've been able to do it with VOTO and a few different things in my life, but I put sometimes because that is always the biggest challenge with entrepreneurship. And lastly, I just love people. Love them so much. I feel like I learned so much from them. And a lot of who I am is because of the amazing people in my life. And I also love volunteering. I volunteered at a lot of different places in the city. Specifically for me, it's food security that really drives me. So places like Calgary Food Bank and brown bagging for Calgary's kids are things that really move me, and just showing up for my community however I can. So being here with you guys today, being able to share a little bit about my journey, my work at VOTO, those are some of the things that I care about. So if there's ever anything that I can do for you or show up in your community somehow, just please let me know. And if I have the time, and I definitely will be there. So a little bit about my journey through tech. It started actually in 2017 when I was recruited by ATB as a summer student in operational excellence. So that was around Lean Six Sigma. So we'd go to different departments in the organization, and we'd run like a week sprint, we would call it. There's this awesome book called The Sprint Methodology. So we do facilitations, and hopefully would come in and a team would have a problem, and at the end of the week, they would have a minimum viable product or a solution towards their problem. So that's really what my summer student job was. And before you know it, I was kept on as a product manager at ATB, worked on three main teams: robotics, process automation, data and AI, and customer experience. I don't know if we've got some product managers in the room, in the chat. Love to chat, because that's really where my passion lies. And then I left ATB after I think about 3 years and 9 months, went over to Cement, which is an amazing company as well here in the city here, led by Hanif. And that's where I wouldn't say like the tingles of entrepreneurship started to boil. They started to boil at ATB, but really when I struck and I was like, it's time to go, it was definitely at Cement, just because of the amazing leadership there and knowing that I had the support to do so. So let's dive in. Like I said, the first part of what we're going to do is really try to get on the same page around some of the definitions that I'm going to be using. So what is customer engagement, if we want to start there? So it's the process of interacting with customers. You can think of it digitally or in person through a variety of different channels. So whether that be email, SMS, social media platforms, in order to strengthen that relationship with them. So every business really has a different approach towards customer engagement, but there is a similar kind of cadence or similar process across on how they actually acquire that customer, what that customer journey looks like. It starts from the point of attraction. Hey, I'm a business, I exist, whatever that looks like for you. Engaging with them, maybe sending them a message saying, hey, do you want to try this thing? Check us out. To the point where your customer might evaluate you and say, hey, is this something that I want to try out? Is this business providing a value or service or product that I want to use? To the point of purchase. Now, most of us, I think of customer engagement as just when it's time to get someone to buy something. But it goes further than that. It goes into measuring the experience. Hey, how was that for you after the customers bought a product or service? And going into bonding. Bonding is really where you've got that loyal customer. You've got that customer who's really a champion for your company or for your brand. And that's where you might potentially get referrals. So how do we actually measure the success of customer engagement or customer engagement campaigns out there? Well, it starts with call to actions. So call to actions are how consumers or customers convert down the customer acquisition journey. So meaning with every single campaign, there's going to be a clear call to action. And we'll go through a few different examples. So you'll see what that looks like in the wild. But call to actions are basically things that businesses want consumers to do. I use consumers and customers interchangeably, but consumers is before a person in the world is a customer. There's just a consumer. So that's kind of the phrasing there. So call to actions are just simply things that businesses want you to do. So first one, an example is really HelloFresh. I know if I know anything, we've all been inundated either by the mailers coming through your mail or across various social media. And here you've got a clear call to action, which is get this offer. So they want you to, this is a call to action to attract you to their company and to their brand. Another one here is this actually awesome company called Unbounce. And theirs is evaluate. So they want you to start a free trial. Say, try us out and see if we're good. And if not, and if we are, well, you'll continue with us. So really a chance to try them out. If any of you guys have been on a plane recently, I know for me as an entrepreneur, it's definitely the budget airlines. I flew with Lynx like a week, 2 weeks ago, and everything was like an upsell. Everything was a purchase, even my carry-on. So all these different call to actions here in the blue are just different ways for them to say, hey, do this thing. And so it's either a purchase or an upsell. And since I'm a huge product nerd, Atlassian, specifically Jira, that's software of choice. That's where I live and breathe. Sadly, I don't get to breathe in it as often as I would like. But it's just even a business asking you to take a survey, right? That is a call to action. And that is to measure the experience, to see how you're enjoying their software. So what are conversion rates now? So every single time a user completes the call to action, that increases the conversion rate. So I'll come back to this example here. If Atlassian sent this email to 1 million people and 100,000 people completed the survey, the conversion rate would be 10%. So it's just the total amount of call to actions within the campaigns that are sent out there divided by how many people actually completed that call to action. So it's really just how a business measures the success of a customer engagement campaign. So what are the benefits of a good customer engagement? Well, first comes with more signups. So if you actually reach out to customers, you speak to them nicely, speak to them in their language, hopefully you'll get more signups, more sales, and more loyalty and more referrals, right? When we talk about that bonding element. So in an ideal world, customer engagement was effective. conversion rates would be a lot higher. But what is really the current problem or the current gap with customer engagement out there right now? So the problem is that the average conversion rate across all industries and all channels is actually 2 to 5%, meaning for every, I'll come back to 100, because if I do 1,000,000, I definitely will mess it up. So for every 100 pieces of engagement that's put out there, only 2 to 5 are completed, meaning if Atlassian sent 100 surveys on average in the industry right now, only 2 to 5% of them are completed. And so we might start to think, okay, like what is the reason behind that? Why is that happening? Well, the thing is, social media feeds, inboxes, just the digital landscape is oversaturated. So on average, people see about 625 ads every hour. So if that's across all your different social platforms, across email, across the internet, on average, apparently, people are getting over 100 emails. So that's on the personal and professional side of things. When you think of your junk, you think of your spam, and you think of your main mailbox. And a study by Ernst & Young found that digital fatigue is actually driving people to really seek downtime, seek like shutting things off. So that's one of those things where you can create the best engagement campaign with the best visuals and the best copy, but your content will most likely be drowned out just because of the oversaturation. On my part, I feel like engagement really has been one way. So outside of me actually wanting to buy something, I think a lot of the things, the engagement pieces that I receive are just one way. Hey, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. And if we look at that customer acquisition journey, a lot of the engagement is centered around the purchase, simply purchase, not really building that relationship with you before or even after that. And we find that people just simply have no incentive to actually complete those call to actions that are out there. So what does poor customer engagement lead to? The inverse of positive customer engagement, missed revenue potential, right? Customers feeling like there's just simply a transaction, right? Hey, do this thing for me, really, and what am I going to do for you? That part is a little bit missing in kind of the engagement piece. Poor customer experience, I put that one there because if we're not actively speaking to customers prior to them buying something, getting their feedback on things, getting them engaged in things, we might be missing a lot of what they actually want and what they're actually thinking. And then depending on kind of the business that you're in, that could lead to negative reviews online because you're not even tapped in to what customers are thinking outside of simply selling to them. So research by Gallup shows that a fully engaged customer represents 23% more revenue than the average. And when we say that, we're really talking about, if you're looking at that customer acquisition journey, right? Not just simply speaking to them in the purchase. What does that look like when you're engaging with them at the attraction point, engagement point, evaluation point, after the fact with the experience? So really that's to put into perspective the value of customer engagement specifically. So with these clear kind of gaps identified, our assumption or our thesis at VOTO is, hey, if we add charitable giving into the customer engagement journey, can we cut through digital noise and increase conversion rates for businesses? Meaning, can we get people to do things that businesses want them to do if we infused charitable giving into the process? So that's where we created VOTO. So what VOTO is we created a unique solution where we take the excitement of interactive campaigns, like when Doritos got people to vote on their favorite flavor of chip. And we've combined that with charitable giving campaigns, like when Tom's made a donation with every single purchase. And we think we're able to create a unique solution that delivers better results with purposeful digital engagement. So to give you some context around what that looked like when we actually launched in December 2021, our very first test was we got people to vote on our logo. And the whole goal is we wanted to get people to actually sign up to our mailing list and get people's contact information. So that was really our main call to action for that campaign. So what we said, hey, vote on our logo, and every single time you vote, we'll donate $1 to Brown Bagging for Calgary's Kids. And every single time you leave us your contact information, we'll donate an additional 50 cents. With that specific campaign, out of the 100 people that voted on the campaign, 52 people left us their contact information. So our very first campaign, we hit a conversion rate of 52%. So when we look at that average conversion rate of 2 to 5%, obviously that is one single test case, and we'll go deeper into other things that we've done. We're just seeing that, hey, if we add in the element of giving back with every single completion, we might be able to hit higher conversion rates. So what does that look like in the wild in terms of a campaign that we've actually done with an actual customer? So last year we worked with a local brewery, and we wanted to help them to generate pre-sales and to get some contact information. So we designed a campaign where people voted on the design of the can, as well as the type of beer that was being brewed. And similar, we said every single time you vote, the brewery will donate to a local nonprofit here in the city. What we're able to do is, in that specific campaign, 14% of people left their contact information, but more importantly, 30% of all total sales that were generated for that specific beer that was released were generated during our pre-sale campaign alone. Meaning we said, hey, vote on this thing, this mystery beer, basically. We don't know what it's going to look like, but because people got a chance to vote and got a chance to participate in this campaign, they felt tied into the mission and of what we were doing, but also were more apt to actually purchase this mystery beer. So that's really the crux of what we do. So to really iterate what VOTO is we have created this really socially impactful engagement strategy where we're providing clear and purposeful incentive that is proven to encourage users to complete important call to actions. And that results in more leads, sales, and customer insights. I want to just speak to a little bit of our team. Kajal is my co-founder. Between her and I, we have over 10 years of experience in product management, partner relations, sales, and design. And also we've got an awesome team of advisors and leaders here in the city. Also, just want to point to one of our advisors, Jason Becker, who's a co-founder at Benevity. So having someone behind us like that, and we know Benevity is a juggernaut, especially on the employee engagement side of things, helping us to lead the vision and strategy of what we're doing is just super important and speaks to kind of the work that we do. So our solution so far, so in the year of operation from 2022, we did 11 campaigns. And for our contact information call to action specifically, we've increased lead generation by over 4 times. So we're averaging a 25% conversion rate for the contact information call to action. At VOTO right now, we've got a few call to actions. We've got vote, like a survey. We've got the contact information, and we've got click on this link. So across all 4 of those call to actions, we're averaging a conversion rate of 36%. We really want to focus on the collecting contact information because that's what really a lot of people know about as one of the main call to actions out there. And more importantly, we've also been able to secure some pre-sales or pre-orders for some of our customers. So with additional traction, our whole goal is to be able to increase the sample size outside of that 11 campaign and with the 9 charities that we've been able to help businesses donate to. So what is our vision, right? So our vision is really to embed charitable giving triggers across all different call to actions on the internet. And that's really to increase the conversion rates. So when you think about, like I mentioned, we have collect contact information, complete the survey, click here. Those are just a few things, but we know that we can have this across all different platforms or channels as well, meaning what does that look like to embed VOTO within emails, text messages, directly on our client's website and across social media? We do believe that customer engagement can be the new driver for social impact. And right now we do focus on customer engagement, but we do know that there is an ability to have this within an organization on an internal basis for something like employees, for example. So really our goal and our vision is to embed charitable giving triggers across all call to actions on the internet. So really what we've done is we've taken the conventional kind of relationship between businesses and customers, and we've added in charities. And so really with doing research, we're saying, okay, the infusion or the addition of this new partner within the mix, what does that look like? What does research actually show when charities or charitable giving is added into the relationship between businesses and customers? So let's first look into businesses. I'll speak a little bit later about the customer loyalty side of things, but I really wanted to step into the value that actually giving back looks like on increase in sales. So 71% of people said that they would purchase from a purpose-driven company over the alternative if all else was equal. It also helps with employee retention. People actually feel like if they're part of a company that actually has purpose, that actually does give back, that they do feel like they're more loyal to that company, and they also are contributing to that positive impact that their company is actually making. And these studies, stats are coming from a study called the Porter Novelli study. More importantly, what are business leaders saying, the people who are actually driving these companies? On their end, they're saying that they do see that it is driving more profits for them. Giving back actually does matter and also helps with employee morale. So I think that's something that Benevi as a company has been able to prove out too, that it does make a difference on the employee side of things. When we look at customers, how are they feeling about companies or businesses giving back? Well, first, speaking to that loyalty piece, 72% did say that they're more likely to be loyal to a company that does actually give back. And 78% are more likely to actually remember that company. So being kept top of mind. I feel like if we even think of just the Tom's concept alone, that buy a shoe, give a shoe. I know that the design is a little bit weird. It kind of reminds me of Crocs, right? Something that's unique and something that's really funky. But we know that we think of Tom's as a company that gives back. Really, that's top of mind. I don't think the design overwhelms that, but I think the giving back element is really something that's important. So that's another thing that's really important to look into it is, what does that look like when people think of these companies and remember them on the identity side of things. And looking at a similar study, we saw that all else equal, also when we come back to cost and quality and those things, when they're equal, purpose-driven brands or purpose-driven companies really outperform the ones who aren't. I wanted to end on the charity side of things because for us with our company, that is what's the most important. That's the key to really unlocking conversion rates, but more importantly, the social impact side of things with our business and the businesses that we help with our software. I don't have to speak to this too much, but we know that charities really are actively right now competing for limited dollars. And there's also a bigger reliance on them and the need for their services in our society right now. Actually, 67% of all charitable funding comes from the government. And we know that right now there is a little bit of a peel back on that, just based on everything that's going on in the economy right now. So I wanted to put this out there just because I think sometimes when we think about charities, we forget the scope or the breadth of the work that they do and how it impacts a lot of us in different ways. So what's been going on really on the charitable side of things and really for them? So amidst rising interest rates, high inflation, and an affordability crunch, we're seeing that 2 in 10 Canadians will actually need to have access to charitable services to meet their essential needs, right, in the next 6 months. So this was released in November of 2022. So we're right around that time frame of when this need continues to grow. And this is even post-pandemic, right? So there's a lot of effects that have trickled down outside of that. And to put things into perspective, this is an 8% increase from the year prior to this article being written. So from November 2021 to 2022, there's an 8% increase. So 20% of people are actually, out there needing these services more than anything. But there's an adverse reaction though, right? The number of Canadians who are actually donating to charity as a percentage of all tax dollars is at an all-time low. So charities where there's more of a weight on them to deliver basic needs, but then on the other side of things, they're receiving a lot less funding or a lot less donations, I want to say, from society. So there is something there that needs to be done. And we do feel at VOTO that there is an opportunity for businesses to fill this gap with ease. I put with ease there because I fully want to recognize and understand that giving back isn't always affordable to all companies. But the way that we're thinking about it is we're trying to say, hey, the common practices that you're currently doing, the engagement that you're already doing, whether that's through your marketing, that's through your customer experience practices, that's where we want to embed giving. Giving is not an addition to all of the work that you're currently doing. It is just part of it. So that's really what we're saying in terms of the ease factor, putting that directly into the current processes that you're already doing. Wanted to shout out a few purpose-driven companies, local and on the national stage here, who are actively giving back. And I know there's a few of you too on the call, right? A lot of givers are silent. A lot of givers are regular folks. And I know either through your personal lives or through your business or through just volunteering. Just wanted to shout you guys out because I know giving back looks differently for a lot of people, but it's also just important to recognize that it is being done right now and people within their means are doing it. So when we look at the landscape of customer engagement or engagement period, $359 billion was spent trying to engage with, for businesses were spending, trying to engage with their customers. This number, this $359 billion, sorry, is that's only advertising spend. Meaning when we look at that funnel, at the customer acquisition journey that I spoke about a lot earlier, that's when they're attracting customers all the way to the point of purchase alone, $359 billion was spent there. So think about when we add in, customer experience tools, for example, or we add in referral tools. So that number would skyrocket in terms of engagement. So with VOTO, we simply ask you to redirect engagement spend or marketing spend to charitable giving in order for us to help you get better results. The best part is we don't try to ask businesses to spend more than they're already doing. It is just redirecting some of that funding to see if we can help to maximize the conversion rates that you're getting and ultimately the social impact too. So it's really a 2-in-1 there. And our goal is really to make it possible for any business to participate in this opportunity, regardless of size, revenue, industry, or maturity. And we do believe that customer engagement can be a new driver for social impact, and more importantly, actually deliver on return on investment in terms of the spend that you're actually making. So for us, really, giving back matters. Our software, we see it as a win-win for not only businesses who get to engage with their customers, get to actually get feedback from their customers, but consumers also get to participate in fun campaigns and actually make a difference that actually support charities who are the backbone of our social services. So really, that is the work that we do. And that's how we've been able to create this really triangle, this thing that my co-founder Kajal came up with, the triangle to really say, hey, can we actually increase those conversion rates and can we actually deliver on better results for engagement? And with that being said, our call to action for you, we're currently running customer discovery sessions. I've got a QR code on the right-hand side there that you can scan. It does take you to a page where it says book a consultation, but that's just a way to say, hey, let's talk, get to know us. We'd like to get to know you as well. And with our customer discovery sessions, we're chatting with people. We're trying to understand what does engagement look like for them? What are some of the pain points that they're experiencing? What are the tools that they're using? What are potential gaps in the tools that they're using? And potentially see if there is a fit for us with your company. But if not, we'll even just leave with giving you ideas or thoughts around how you can help, how we think your engagement can be a lot better with your communities. And then if you have any connections with leaders across the live event space and consumer packaged goods. Those are the beachheads that we're targeting. For my non-startup people in the call, a beachhead is just, that's the industry that we're starting with, because across our 11 campaigns, we've done a lot with live events and consumer packaged goods. So that's really where we're starting things out. But we know, like I said, it could work for a variety of different use cases and industries across there. So we're happy to chat, happy to get to know you guys, and happy to see how VOTO can help you with your engagement and, more importantly, with your social impact. We also have our website, socials, email there that you can contact us at, and it is hello@votoapp.co and not .com, because the domain was way too expensive. As you know, cost is very important. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time with me here. Brigitte, once again, thank you so much for having me. I know Amber's not here, but shout out to her as well and the awesome team here at Rainforest. But yes, open to questions, comments, all the things.
I love how you say my name, like my family says my name, Brigitte.
Any opportunity.
Français, oui, oui. Thank you so much. Incredible solution. A couple of thoughts. I also consult nonprofits on revenue diversification, and grant funding, as many know here, is becoming more scarce and competitive.
Absolutely.
And so this is an awesome opportunity for charities. I'm really curious about the intersections with Benevity and your advisor, but we'll let the others ask questions.
Absolutely.
I'll also just make note a little bit of distraction here as something lands in my inbox that Chic Geek has decided to stop operating. And I know from knowing Kylie that grant funding or funding for nonprofits, right, is just becoming a very challenging space. And yeah, it just kind of struck a nerve as you were talking about just that. And so yeah, we'll open it up to the audience here. I know Carrie was first in line with a question around, Carrie, do you want to maybe unmute and bring us back to the context of when you threw that question in there? Are you still with us, Carrie?
So I ended up leaving the tech field back in October. I got a job at Pro Hockey Life, which fits in perfectly with me. We're part of Canadian Tire Corporation. And so part of the checkout process is to say, would you like to round up or make a donation to Jumpstart today? And a lot of people are resistant. They think, oh, well, Canadian Tire is a big corporation. If they want me to donate, they can just do it themselves. Or I'm not going to donate through Canadian Tire because they're just going to get all the tax benefit.
Absolutely. So I think, sorry, was there a question, or was just that was just a comment and you wanted kind of?
Well, no, it was so my question was how do you handle that on that level for if you were to have those big corporate clients, like those pushbacks?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I know that kind of issue has also come up with Walmart as well, and that's a really big thing that's been talked about. So our solution is slightly different, where we don't ask the consumer or the customer to donate at all. So all of the engagement that's ran through our campaigns is the business actually donating to a charity, meaning every single time the consumer completes the action or the customer completes the action, the business donates. So that's really the main difference between what's been going on in the landscape there with the checkout kind of pieces and specifically with what we do. So customers don't give money in our solution. The business is the one responsible for that.
Cool.
Wumi, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. So can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just wondering, like, this solution is so great. And I wonder if the companies are not like just trying to grab it. Like, we're just going to add this into our own strategy and there'll be no need for us to involve a third party to mediate it for us. So are you getting that sense at all? And is there a way to mitigate that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question around, hey, can you just do it yourself? Why do you need us? I think a big part with giving back is, one, the transparency element that comes with it. So if there is a third party involved, there is that kind of piece of us validating that the money is going in the first place. But more importantly, with what we're doing is we're tracking the actual conversion or the actual action that's being completed and tied to the donation. So there's also that element of, hey, not just transparency, but checks and balances to say, hey, if let's just say Rainforest, I know Rainforest, a nonprofit, but think of another company, Bose, for example, donated $1 million, right? We as VOTO would be able to say $1 million was donated across these 10 different campaigns. And it's because 100,000 people completed these specific actions. And that is how that money is going. So you're right, absolutely. There is a way for companies to do this on their own. But I think the value add that VOTO brings, one, is the technology that we have, wherein the business doesn't have to necessarily build that into it. Two is the element of transparency that we also provide for every single call to action that's completed, so that one-to-one tracking there. And then also, we know it's really important, especially for, I want to say, millennials and Gen Z, for that accountability piece there to exist. And so for us as a third party, that's something that we pride ourselves in as well, and to provide that check and balances. So when we absolutely, in terms of saying like companies could do this on their own, but we do see that there is value add with the technology, transparency, and processes that we have currently.
Awesome. V, I think you had your hand up next.
Oh, great job. I love that you found a way to incorporate the biblical principle of sowing and reaping into companies' business development and growth. Wonderful. My question is, it looks like it's business to consumer to charity. Is there a way to do it business to business to charity? Or have you thought of that, or would that work?
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, live events, consumer package are the beachheads that we're targeting. But obviously a lot of our network is with startups and founders. And a lot of the businesses that we also are having conversations with are B2B. So meaning they're out there trying to get other businesses to purchase them. And we know that there is actually, when we look at conversion rates, and in customer acquisition cost, meaning the cost that it takes to actually acquire a customer, B2B businesses actually pay the highest. So I think they're around $365 to get a single customer right now. That's how much they pay to get a customer. So B2B, specifically B2B tech, is something that we're looking at, because we do know that those customer acquisition costs are really high. And I think with B2B also, there is more of that relationship there. A lot of those B2B companies have client success teams. So there's a tighter knit piece there. And definitely B2B is definitely something that we're looking at. Absolutely B.
Awesome. Okay, I know we have more questions and hands up. I do want to have time for one quick breakout round. So if the rest want to just maybe throw their questions in the chat, or we can stay on it after the top of the hour with the questions, but I just want to give time for everybody to have a bit of connection with others in the room. So really apologize for cutting off the questions, because I know everybody has curiosities and we don't want to stifle those, but we do want to make room for some collisions here. So I'm going to create some breakouts. We can jump in, talk about the presentation, whatever you're working on. If you're looking for help from someone or have something to offer, those are some points of conversation. And we'll come back at just before 5:02 for community announcements, and hopefully get to the rest of the questions here if we've got some extra minutes. So apologies to those with questions.
I'll be here after 1. So
awesome. Thanks, Ange. Great. Okay, we can hop into the breakouts now. Welcome. We'll head right in. I hope you had some good connections there. Don't forget to keep those going outside of lunch, without lunch. Ange, tons of kudos in the chat. Everyone's loving what you're working on, and so I'm sure I think you already gave your contact info, but maybe if you want to throw it in the chat again, if anyone wants to reach out. Rainforest has done a discovery session with VOTO, and we're meeting again tomorrow. So excited to see where that might lead to help us increase engagement on Inkly or Lunch Without Lunch. Bring a friend, everybody. Summer always quiets down, but we do have some great content from, we'll be hearing from the technology access centers, of which I believe there are 80 or something in the country. No, that's wrong, 60, I think. And there are 8 in Alberta. What is a technology access center? Won't you all find out in August, because we'll be touring them across the province. There are all sorts of cool initiatives where startups working in each of the spaces, manufacturing, bees, oil sands technology, can go to those agriculture, and there's another one, can go to those technology sectors around, or access centers around the province to test and experiment and build prototypes and all sorts of cool things. Didn't even know they existed until a few months ago. So we'll be checking that out in August. And we've got a bit of a smattering of things happening in July, including some outdoor, just kind of nature walks, because we all know that's where some of us do our best ideating. So watch for that coming out on our registration page. Any other announcements from the community?
Just wanted to say thanks to everybody. We did the Branch Out Foundation race, and we raised just about $250,000 doing that. So thank you very much for your support. And look, I'm not dead yet. Yay.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, it must have been a grueling bike ride.
You still keep kicking there, Pete.
Fun. It was fun.
Awesome.
Oh, Al's looking for a podcast episode, guys. So let's step up. Who wants to host a podcast? Who wants to be a guest on the podcast? Let's help keep the podcast going, please. It's all volunteer ran. Al does a ton of work on it. So please reach out to Al. The two-stroke motor keeps running. V, do you have a community announcement?
Yeah, just really quick. There's a summit, an AI summit tomorrow. I'll drop the link in the chat, and it's going to be really cool. I haven't been to any of them yet. They host them once a month, but it's a Pekka Kucha style presentation
Cool.
with AI. So 20 slides, 20 seconds a slide or something like that. Yeah, it should be really good.
Awesome.
There it is.
Cool. I'll head to that. I have a quick ask. I'm working on a startup idea with a couple of colleagues and friends, and we're looking to do customer discovery with companies of 10 to 100 employees. It doesn't matter the industry, but they have to be that employee size. So if you have any one who manages that size of company, 10 to 50 employees, could you please introduce me to them, because I have a lot of burning questions. I'm also doing a shameless plug for my daughter's children's hospital fundraise. We have a very dear friend whose daughter is suffering from a rare and aggressive cancer, and my daughter's raising money for her on this little page. So if anyone wants to throw a few bucks her way, we'd appreciate it.
I'm one of those companies, Bridget, if you're interested.
All right. Yes, please, Peter. Yeah. Okay, I'll reach out. Freeman?
Yeah, I'll get this in really quick. I'm also looking to do some customer discovery calls for anyone who's either in a startup program, founder in a startup program, or a coach and facilitator in one of those programs, or even a program director, just to chat a little bit about some challenges that may be facing around mindset and stuff like that.
Cool. Have you talked to the advisors at Platform?
No, I'll be heading there tomorrow night, hoping to connect with some of them.
Cool. Okay, so it's top of the hour. We'll see you all next week. I wish I knew what it was next week. I never seem to. Check out the registration page, and we'll see you then for that surprise. Ange, big thank you to you and VOTO. We'll keep helping you out and following your journey. We know you're all around town, so we'll see you at events and whatnot. Thanks for being with us.
And yeah, if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out and connect with me. I appreciate you guys.